We have some news about the war criminals in our government. Reuters explains here, President Barack Obama's administration has decided to include a massive report on the CIA's use of waterboarding and other enhanced interrogation techniques. The euphemism, just say torture, you pricks, in his presidential papers, meaning it may eventually be declassified. The White House wrote to Senators Richard Burr and Dianne Feinstein, the Republican chairman and ranking Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, on December 9th, informing them of its decision. Feinstein, who released the letter on Monday, said Obama had refused to declassify the report at this time, but she was pleased it would go into his archive, meaning it would one day be available for declassification. Yeah. So I get the sense that a lot of people were giving Obama credit for this as if, like, it's brave or bold. All he's saying is, okay, this thing that happened and this giant report that we did on these factual circumstances that our government did, we will eventually allow the American people to learn about what their government did and what their government in many cases is still doing. I don't file that under brave. I file that under duh. What I file under cowardly is not releasing it right now. So that's what he said. He's like, oh, don't X-nay on the release scale right now. That ain't happening. Don't do that. But yeah, I'll put it in my file so that eventually it gets declassified years after I'm out of office. No. I'm not giving you credit for this. Because you know what would have gotten you credit, President Obama, on the issue of torture? Well, let me run through the list. Number one, if you shut down Guantanamo. But I can't, the Republicans are blocking me from doing it. No, they're not. Now, well, technically they are, but here's what you do. You go, oh, executive order, shut down. Shut it down right now. You're going, wait, you can't do that. No, wrong. What couldn't have been done, but was done, was setting it up in the first place. You do understand that's an extrajudicial prison. You do get that, right? So you do understand the entire existence of it is unconstitutional, right? So that which can be set up in an unconstitutional, extrajudicial way can be shut down in the same goddamn way. So, like Soulja Boy said, watch me do it. Is that Soulja Boy? I think that's Soulja Boy. But that's what I do. I shut it down. Executive order, shut it down. And then when they start barking about it, the Republicans, I go, take me to court. Take me to court. I want you to take me to court. I want to get us both on the record. I want you to make an argument in court. We're in favor of being unconstitutional and holding people without due process and habeas corpus and torturing people. Are we really making this argument in the historical record right now? I want you on record. That's what I want. I want you on record as saying that. And I will be on the side of the Constitution. I will be on the side of due process and habeas corpus. And I will win this battle so overwhelmingly, I will be viewed as a hero in history because I would be if I did this. So, yes, you shut it down. So, first thing I'd give him credit for, if he actually did it, is to shut down Guantanamo Bay. He hasn't done that. The other thing on torture that I would give him credit for is if you prosecuted people. Look, I'm a reasonable dude. I would be happy if you prosecuted anybody. Anybody. A low-level dude, a middle management dude, one person in the Bush administration. Fucking anybody. Instead, what did he say? We don't look backwards in this administration. We look forwards. Yeah, by that logic, you would go after no criminals, because every crime, by definition, happened in the past. We don't look backwards. Okay, so we got a serial killer that killed a bunch of people, and we know he killed a bunch of people, and we have the evidence, but we don't look backwards. We look forwards. As if that's brave, and as if that's like, oh yeah, we're doing the reasonable thing here. That's not reasonable, that is unreasonable. So if you prosecuted anybody for torture, if you shut down Gitmo, but you didn't do it, all you did was you had some little parts of the torture report released. And of those little parts, there were some bombshells. But now I'm starting to think, well, whatever they're hiding must still be worse, because Obama doesn't even want to release it right now. So what are you hiding? We already know there was hypothermia torture, which, by the way, killed a guy who was totally innocent. They'd pour cold water on you, leave you in a cold cell, and come back in the morning. A guy literally died from that. They did mock burials. They did loud music torture. They did sleep deprivation. They did waterboarding. Of course, we know that one. They did anal rape torture because they just had anal feeding. They'd shove a tube up your ass and pump food up there. And they spoke to doctors, and doctors were like, that's not like a thing. Because they tried to frame it as, oh, that's just a common thing. It happens in like hospitals all the time. Doctors were like, Huh? No. So all these different forms of torture, and they admit that at least 20% of the people we tortured, totally innocent. Totally innocent. Because we got a lot of the people at Guantanamo because we cut deals with warlords in Afghanistan and Pakistan to send the Bush administration at the time Al-Qaeda people. They didn't actually get Al-Qaeda people. They rounded up their enemies and sent them to the U.S. So, and Obama's supposed to get credit. I'm going to allow you to maybe see this at some point decades in the future. Oh, you liberal lion, you. That's what you are. You're a fucking liberal lion. God damn it, man. Release all of it right now and prosecute them. Prosecute them. We have so much evidence. But no. Why? Because when we do it, it's okay because, wait for it, here it comes. We meant well. Intent. Oh, we meant so well. When we were anally raping that guy with a tube and then shoving food up his ass, liquefied food up his ass, when we gave somebody hypothermia torture and they died in that cell, we meant well. We did it with the purest of intentions, so everything's okay. By the way, even if I grant that, which I don't, but even if I grant that, oh, you meant well, there's still a term for what we did, and it's still a crime. The idea that, like, well, intentions, you know, it absolves all. No, that's why, like, for example, when somebody dies, there's murder charges and different degrees and levels of murder, but there's also manslaughter, where the intent doesn't necessarily have to be there. But if you killed somebody, it's still a crime, and you're still going to go to jail. But with our government, when it's the government committing the crime, it's not a crime. It's not a crime. When we do it, it's never a crime. When they do it, they're terrorists. They're a rogue state. They're evil. They're the worst imaginable. So, I don't know. It's so gross that he's getting, like, credit for this. Like, look at this liberal lion. He's eventually going to let us know what our government did with our money in our name. How about you let us know right now, and how about you reverse all the wrongs that have been done, and then I'll give you credit. But until that day, this low fucking bar has got to end.